Hi, I'm Wayne Alaroot for Personal Liberty. Let me read you the definition of fraud straight from the dictionary. Fraud is an act or course of deception, an intentional concealment, omission, or perversion of truth. Willful fraud is a criminal offense which calls for severe penalties, and its prosecution and punishment, like that of murder, is not bound by the statute of limitations. That's direct from the dictionary. They're comparing fraud to murder. Now let's take a look at how Obamacare was sold. Almost 1 year ago, I asked right here at Personal Liberty, is President Obama too big to jail? I was referring primarily to the crime of fraud and misrepresentation used by Obama and his socialist cabal to sell Obamacare. Right here at Personal Liberty, months ago, I compared the fraud and deception used by Obama to sell Obamacare to the fraud committed by TV infomercial scam artist Kevin Trudeau. I suggested Obama committed the crime of consumer fraud. Kevin Trudeau was convicted earlier this year for using lies and misrepresentation to sell his product on television. The U.S. government rightfully claimed Trudeau couldn't have sold his product, a book about weight loss, without lying to consumers. The government claimed without Trudeau's lies, deception, and misrepresentation, claiming that weight loss is easy, no one would have bought his book. He was sentenced to 10 years in prison. I said at the time, this was exactly how Obamacare was sold. Lo and behold, we now have proof that Obamacare was sold by Obama with the same kind of lies, fraud, and misrepresentation used by Kevin Trudeau. The words of none other than Jonathan Gruber, the MIT professor and architect of Obamacare, have come back to haunt the Obama administration, clear as a bell on video. I'm no lawyer, although I do play one on TV, but it's clear the selling of Obamacare was built on fraud. Gruber admits, actually brags, that Obamacare could never have passed if the American people knew what was in it. Gruber brags that the bill was saved by a, quote, lack of transparency. Isn't that a nice way of saying lying? He calls American voters, quote, stupid. Isn't that what con men like Kevin Trudeau and Bernie Madoff think of their victims? Gruber then admits the bill was written in a, quote, tortured way to hide the truth, that Obamacare was always designed as a big fat tax to redistribute money. He says if the Congressional Budget Office knew it was a tax and scored it as a tax, it could never have passed into law. If a businessman says something in a tortured way to hide the truth, that's the definition of fraud. Gruber doesn't mention the biggest whopper of all. If you like your insurance, you can keep your insurance. Obama told this lie again and again, while his own internal White House report showed up to 93 million Americans would lose their insurance because of Obamacare. Obama kept repeating that line to the media and at speeches and rallies across the country. Isn't that the definition of fraud? Obama lied to sell Obamacare to, quote, stupid American voters. How does that differ from Bernie Madoff taking money from what he would call gullible investors by telling them he could produce massive, unimaginable returns year after year? How does that differ from Kevin Trudeau telling gullible TV viewers he had a system that made weight loss easy? All these crooks and scam artists have something in common. They need to lie and misrepresent to get victims who they would describe as stupid to buy into their Ponzi schemes. What any U.S. prosecutor could tell you is the architect of the crime, Jonathan Gruber, just confessed to the crime on video. This is ironclad case of fraud. Now all you have to do is use his words to take down the entire criminal enterprise, the Obama crime family. If Obama had truthfully admitted this is wealth redistribution, who would have supported it? If Obama had truthfully admitted, if you like your insurance, you'll probably lose it, who would have supported it? If you like your doctor, too bad, you're going to need to find another one, who would have supported it? Or if you like your price for health insurance, too bad, because your price is going to double or triple. If Obama had truthfully admitted any of that, he never could have sold Obamacare to the American public. So he had no choice but to lie, deceive, and misrepresent. That's the definition of fraud. That's how he sold it. That's exactly what Kevin Trudeau and Bernie Madoff are rotting away in prison. But the selling of Obamacare was far more serious than typical consumer fraud. Madoff's in prison for life. Trudeau is away for 10 years, but neither put a gun to the head of their victims. There was no violence in their crime. They simply promoted or advertised. Victims willingly came to them or bought from them of their own free will. Yet that's still fraud, of course, because victims willingly handing over their money based on lies and deception isn't really free will. But Obama didn't just lie and misrepresent. Obama sold the scam at gunpoint. There was never free will involved. Obama forced every American with the force of government and IRS fines to buy his fraudulent product. That's more like a violent crime. That's armed robbery. That's a much more serious crime. It's time to put the architects and salesmen of Obamacare away in prison. Trudeau cost 1 million consumers each a paltry $30. No one's life was ruined. Madoff cost a few thousand wealthy investors a few $1 billion. Some lives were ruined, but the numbers are very small. But Obama's in a league all his own. Obamacare is the biggest fraud in world history. Over time, it probably will cost trillions of dollars in new taxes, higher premiums, deductibles, copays, or in the case of victims who are terminally ill and lose their insurance altogether, $1 million bills. For a few victims who have terminal cancer and lose their insurance coverage, it may cost them their life. And how about the job losses and downgrades from full-time to part-time work for millions of American employees? Trudeau and Madoff only damaged a few personal economies. Obama's fraud damaged the entire United States economy. No one is left unaffected. What kind of prison sentence do you get for that? Now remember the second half of the definition of fraud. Willful fraud is a criminal offense which calls for severe penalties, and its prosecution and punishment, like that of murder, is not bound by the statute of limitations. The words on video of Jonathan Gruber, the admission, the confession, prove this was willful fraud. He basically confesses we had to lie to the people or these stupid voters would never have passed it, and we passed it, so it was worth it. That's willful fraud. It doesn't get any more willful than that. It's more proof on video that Obama and his socialist cabal believe the ends justify the means, meaning any crime or fraud is okay as long as we achieve our goal of income redistribution and destruction of capitalism. If this isn't punished with prison terms, what crime will they commit next? How far will they go? Republicans just won a massive, historic landslide victory. It was based on middle-class Americans' disgust and rage at the lies, cancellations, and unaffordable premium increases of Obamacare. Now it's time for a Republican Senate and House to start criminal investigations. Now it's time to make the people that committed fraud to sell Obamacare pay. I think life in prison is getting off easy for the pain and loss they've caused to 300+ million American victims and for committing the first $1 trillion fraud in world history. I'm Wayne Allen Root for Personal Liberty. See you next week. God bless America.